I wanted to talk today about something that I think, as we've gotten a lot into content marketing this season and building personal brands and building online businesses. And honestly, I know a lot of people who use Weeknight website are multi-passionate, really creative people, right? I know I'm like that myself, and it's really hard to choose a project and then stick with it, right? And sometimes the idea of needing to stick with something keeps us from starting it at all. It just intimidates us. It makes us fearful to do things like blog or do things like pick a social media platform or even do things for our personal care. Like, oh, I'm going to work out a certain amount of times a week, or I'm going to develop a certain morning routine. I'm going to wake up early or something like that. So I want to talk about the mindset changes it takes to be consistent, because this is just as important to building your personal brand as anything else. There's a podcast I used to listen to where one of the hosts would say, consistency breeds legitimacy. The more that you show up, even if, no one's watching or very few people are watching, the more that it helps you look legitimate in your business and it helps people trust you. So we're going to tackle the biggest issue right now, which is this. The mindset that responsibility is a prison. So the mindset shift that we're going to make is that responsibility is not a prison. Discipline actually creates freedom. Now, I know for a lot of people, the motivation in even having an online business, it's to create freedom in your life. You probably want more time for maybe your family, more time for the creative things that you love, more time doing things that are on your heart, your passions, versus working, grinding for someone else. A lot of you guys are trying to work for yourselves or working towards a goal of working for yourself online. So a lot of times when you have that mentality in life, it makes you more resistant to discipline, but you actually need to be really disciplined to be able to create freedom in your life. What I'm learning is that in my life, when I just put my head in the sand and ignore things, I'm just preparing myself for like a big blow up in my face later, usually. Or if I kind of let things slide a little bit and I'm not consistent, I'm not disciplined in certain areas, it bites me in the butt later. And the people that I know and the person I'm trying to grow into personally, this is just me being vulnerable here. Like, I think in my life, I've let things slide and not been disciplined in a lot of areas. And I kick myself later being like, oh man, I really wish that I was, because I would have had certain freedoms in my life, the freedom that I have been working for all along. So I really, really recommend just evaluating, like, do I have this belief? Am I actually being resistant to things that will ultimately help me later? And I'm just going to tell you some other benefits of consistency, and consistency is a discipline, right? So consistency grows your influence. When you're consistent, then people trust you, and it helps people in turn buy from you, or they know like, oh, they're showing up no matter what. So I know that I'm going to get this result from them, or I know that they're the go-to person for blank. Yeah. So it actually helps build your influence, and it also helps people respect you and take you seriously because you're taking yourself seriously, right? It also eliminates decision fatigue. For instance, I know every week we're going to be here on Friday with a webinar. So I don't have to think about like, what are we doing this week to connect with our community? We're here, right? Like, I don't have to think about that. I don't have to like reach for all these things. Like, I know right now I'm not connecting with you guys through a podcast. I've already made the decision, like, we're doing a webinar this week. So boom, here you go. That's just one example, but I'm sure that you guys have your own. So I know that like a lot of people, a great example of consistency eliminating decision fatigue is a lot of you guys have capsule wardrobes, or maybe you've heard of capsule wardrobes, where you actually choose, like, I only wear these 3 colors. And at first it seems like so creatively stifling, but then within that limitation, you find so many different ways to express yourself that actually makes your style look cooler, or like you find accessories, and it helps you be able to roll out of bed, just pick something because all of your wardrobe goes together. You're not like searching for combinations. And then you can go out the door and have that space in your brain to make decisions on other things. The next thing is you get better faster. You get better faster. I love this. So, something that we're doing more and more of is we are building more and more websites, obviously, on a Weeknet website, and building them all on one platform. Like in the past, we've done a lot of custom website design and worked with this platform, worked with that platform, and kind of been like always web design, but doing lots of different things. And the more that we are focused on one platform, the faster and the better that we get. And the same is going to be true for you. The more that you're consistent, there's a lot of tools out there, but the more that you're consistent using one tool and mastering one tool or one platform, even if it's social media, the more that you do YouTube, the more that you are going to master YouTube, or the more that you post on Instagram, the more that you're going to be like, this is how this works, right? So it helps you get better, and then you get faster ultimately, and then you can move on to something else, which we'll talk about in a minute. And the other thing that consistency does, which I love, is you create a body of work, or even, it might not even be a body of work. It might just be like you building towards a goal, but you can fall back on it. So, if your consistency goal, it has to do with blogging or putting out content, then you have all of these blogs to fall back on. And we'll talk about that more in a little bit too. But like I said, terms of it growing your influence, the biggest thing it does is help people trust you and what you create. When you're consistently creating great content, that tells me that I know that you're going to show up for me when I need you. And when you put out a new product or something and you tell me, hey, this is going to be of the same value and caliber of the other things that I've been putting out, like the free stuff, the free content that I've been putting out, or just where I've been showing up online. So if you're on Instagram all the time, people feel connected to you, they trust you. When you actually create a product, they trust what you're creating because they've already built this trust from your consistency, right? I think that we've all had that friend which, sometimes I think my biggest fear is that I have been that friend. I'm trying to get away from this. I'm not talking about bad about friends, but I think we all know people who, have their hands in a lot of things. And then it's like they have a new project every week that they're trying to get you to do. And it's not like a long-term goal that they're working towards. It's just like, buy my new thing. Okay, buy this other new thing. And they're not always related. And it just feels disjointed. And it's hard to trust that they're going to keep showing up where you need them. Does that make sense? Or like they're going to put all of their effort into the thing that you're expected to invest in. People want from you the investment that you're asking them to make back. Does that make sense? So consistency helps people trust you. Okay. So here are some, kind of more like cliche mantras that really feed into this theme of consistency. So 1, say it with me now, because this one, guys, I'm telling you what, this is a really interesting webinar for me to do, because if I have struggled with anything in my life, which I've struggled with a lot of things, it is absolutely this. And so this is just stuff that I am like preaching to myself here, because I am just learning these things and just finally feeling like, oh, I can talk about this because this is something that I'm doing, right? But number 1 is it will happen, but it doesn't need to happen all at once. Something that's really important to do is actually define your season and think about the fact that you're not a machine. You might be able to do all the things, but you're going to have to define your season and figure out what's the priority right now. So something that I recommend doing is writing down all of your goals and putting them into these boxes. So we have a now, a next, and a later category. So, you might have the goal of, oh, I really want to grow my Instagram. I want to blog once a week. I want to launch a course. I want to go on a vacation, and I want to, write a book, right? Those are amazing goals, and you can absolutely do all of them. But you do have to decide, what season am I in, and what do I have capacity for right now? We're going to talk about capacity next, but really you need to decide, like, what is the right now thing that I'm going to focus on. So a great way to do this is to check in with yourself about the last 4 months. That is typically going to tell you, like, okay, what season am I in? And I think for a lot of people, especially right now, like July in general seems to be a transition of seasons, but I know for myself and a lot of people I've talked to, it's absolutely that this year. So I would just say, like, okay, this is what I've learned in the last 4 months. This is what I have energy for. And for some of us too, like, we're getting just a little bit older. And like, I personally am in my 30s now. I do not have the same amount of capacity that I did in my 20s. Like, I was able to kind of like go. And I just don't have that hustle in me anymore, guys. I'm sorry, but I have other priorities right now. I have a family with people I care about. I have other things that I care about doing. And so really defining my season has been super key for me. So what you want to do is check in about the last 4 months. When were you the happiest? What brought you the most joy? And what do you feel like if you look at next year is going to help you, maybe if it takes you like double the time. So I put in a great example here. If my goal later or next is to launch a course and to go on a vacation, and then later, maybe in like a year, right, is to write a book. I put about squirrel farming just to be fun. But then I think a great goal now would be like, let's grow my Instagram presence. Let's blog once a week and send, that blog in an email to my list. So you're just reproducing what you did to achieve another goal of consistency, which is you're emailing regularly and you're blogging regularly. Double whammy. So this is just an example of how your goals can feed each other. And then so that you're not taking on too much. Maybe for you, like, blogging every week is not going to be a good goal. Maybe right now is your season to write your book. Then your goal right now, like, if you need to be kind of more introverted, inwardly focused, and just crank out that piece of creative work, then right now I think a better goal for you, instead of growing your audience, is probably going to be to just spend time every day working on that thing. And then maybe next your goal can be putting some of that material into a blog. And the cool thing is that you can use all these things to build on each other. So like, if you're writing a book, you can take some of those blog posts and just repurpose them in the book if you were going the way that I proposed here. So I hope that defining your season, defining your needs, even when it comes to like mental health, or like, what does my primary relationships need? Maybe you have a kid and you haven't been spending enough time with them, and that's a priority for you right now. Like, you have to define that season. And so, connecting and growing on Instagram, probably not the best goal for you right now, but maybe you have time to put together the content for a course, or, you can wake up an hour earlier every day and write some of your book, and that's a better goal for you. So just kind of defining what season you're in, what you want to grow, and what makes sense for you right now. Second is really builds on this. So it's, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And so, really, this is just exactly what I was talking about with regards to capacity. So in defining your season, you have to define your priorities. And along with this list, these two, 1 and 2, are very much connected. So lots of overlap here, guys. But what I would recommend is actually just picking to master and be consistent at one thing at a time. The absolute biggest mistake I see with people when they jump into online business is they're doing all the things at once. And when you're doing all the things at once, you're setting yourself up to fail. I would recommend setting up all the things. So like, set up your website, connect your email list, get like welcome sequences and stuff like that going. But if you have a goal that you have to be consistent at, like blogging or podcasting or doing webinars or anything else like that, what you want to do is master one thing at once. And if you're going to try to do two things at once, make sure that they're feeding each other. Make sure that they're not like two absolutely separate things from each other. You know, if right now we have weekly webinars and we have a blog, and those things feed each other. You know, we use some of this content. We try to keep, you know, a great amount of content for our members only. We use some of these content, we repurpose it for our blog because we know that this can help a lot of people. And, you know, we want people to find it and learn about Weekend at Website as a resource and learn how awesome this is and be able to join our community as well. But we actually repurpose this material in a lot of ways so that we're not like doubling up on all that we have to do. We have done all the work and we repurpose it. So that's something that you can absolutely use. Like for, you know, another great example I use for people all the time is if you have video, if you do any sort of video, so if you're going live on Facebook, if you're doing video interviews, webinars, if you're doing courses even or lessons, or some of you guys are in like the faith-based arena, if you have kind of like sermons or anything like that that you're doing, meditations, you can repurpose those into downloads or podcasts or something like that. Like that, it's very easy to take video and repurpose it for audio. And that is going to help you have the capacity to do multiple things. But I really, really, really recommend you pick one thing, stay consistent at it for at least a month, maybe even more, depending on how often you're trying to be regular at it. And then once you feel like, wow, I'm better, faster, stronger in this arena, or I've like learned all that I need to know, and I think I can sustain this and add something else on top of it, that's when you can go ahead and do that. And also I want you to remember that, you know, with consistency, success is showing up. Like really all it takes to be consistent is to show up. All you have to do is show up at a certain time or on a certain day. And you have to define this goal for yourself. You know, there's some projects where if I do this thing, I'm doing this thing, it's new, it's on my Instagram, I'm doing what I call a weekly jingle. And I'm putting out a new like mini song every week. It's not a full song. It's something I feel like I can sustain, right? But for me, success is just opening Logic and putting something down and hopefully making my deadline of releasing it that week. But every now and then, if there's a week, like for instance, I'm probably going to release on time this week, but I was at a conference, like I, you know, have day-to-day requests from Weekend Website and client work and all of that. So I, you know, sometimes time is limited, right? And so if I miss a week, that's not as big of a deal for me, but success to me is that I'm trying and I'm opening Logic and do it. So really decide for yourself, what is success and what is even showing up for me? Is it a published product? Or is it the fact that I sat down when I said I was going to and I put the time in? So really define that for yourself. This is the little, if you want to screenshot something for yourself, just remember when it comes to being consistent that you can repurpose all the things, and that helps with every single point on this list. This helps you show up. This helps you, you know, have the capacity for more. And this also helps you as you're defining your season. I mean, really, it just relates to capacity. It really is going to help you be able to tackle multiple things or to take things, maybe, you know, the work that you did the last season and build on top of that. All right. And if you wanted a resource, maybe the thing that you are feeling inconsistent on is working on your website. So first off, I'm going to challenge you guys. You know, summertime, a lot of stuff slowing down right now. I totally get it. But this is the best time to work on your website. I will tell you without fail, every single year, this is like our slowest time is like June and the beginning of July. And then every year without fail, last week of July, it gets crazy pants with the amount of requests and people like coming out of the woodwork saying, oh my gosh, Kristen, I just realized September's around the corner and then it's going to be the holidays. I need to work on my website. Work on it right now, especially if you have some extra time. So I just want to challenge you, pick a goal this month. Like I'm going to work on my website every single weekend this month for 2 hours. I would really, really recommend having a goal like that. And if you need some, kind of motivation to keep going, to keep working on it, check out our website mindset video. This is going to help you get in the mindset to actually tackle that project. And if you're feeling discouraged, maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I can't figure out something and I really need it to move forward. First off, please use the little help chat that we have inside of WeConnect website. That's what it's there for myself or Brittany to come pop in and help you figure those things out. But also, feel free to revisit this video for some encouragement on building your website. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember that you have all of these resources at weekendwebsite.com/member-library if you wanted to check out ways to extend your website. Amazing. Well, it has been such a joy and an honor to be with you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Have a great week.